Hello to all that are watching this video. Today I will be doing my reflection video on Indian horse. The three topics I will talk about is hockey, racism, and fear, loneliness, and despair. I'm going to start with fear, loneliness, and despair. In the movie, there's especially a lot of fear when Lonnie or Saul or any of the kids that are in the movie, they talk in their own language, they'll get beat or they'll get sent to a dungeon. And the fear of not being able to speak your own dialect is a very sad thing, and Canada is supposed to be a free country, right? Sorry about that, I had to flip my notes for a second. Now let's go to loneliness. Loneliness is a big part because they just shift them to a school. They probably don't even know any of the kids at this school. They don't have their family, and they're told that God is good all the time. Now I do believe that. I'm Christian myself, but they were taught the Roman Catholic way, and the Roman Catholic way is very different. I'm not going to get into that right now, at least. Loneliness is a big thing because sorry about that again. For loneliness, they're lonely by themselves. They don't know anyone else. Maybe a sibling's there, but a sibling could, drift away. They couldn't be possibly as connected as they were because they can't speak their own dialect anymore. So they're not going to have the same connect. The parents aren't there to teach them the ways of their own tribe or even as life to begin with. It's very hard for kids, even orphans these days, they're very lonely, even people on the streets, right? And the last part for this column is despair. Despair is a big, broad topic, but in this one, it's referring back to, if that's true, why has God put me in here? Why is all this stuff? If that's true, why am I not out of here? Why am I not allowed to be part of my own tribe and do stuff? Big component to this movie was despair, and I think that without a doubt it's very hard for even Indigenous people today to I gotta fix this, to deal with despair, as they're still trying to result back to their tribe, right? So it says in my notes, I keep flipping it over to look back at it. It tells me to clearly state what I could do personally in the future and what I could do in the future for this. You could do anything big, you could do anything small. Myself, I like doing small things more than big things. I'm trying to get the right angle here. I'm sorry if you're laughing about this, that's fine. One sec. There we go. Good? Yeah, okay. Sorry about that. How I could help in the future, probably do something small. You could do something big. Maybe not protest. Protesting ain't the greatest way because they'll think you're complaining, but maybe, I don't know, spreading a message even around school, around a neighborhood, that, fellow reserve needs help, or giving money to the reserve, because there's a lot of reserves even nowadays that don't have enough funds to live off of, and it is hard for them. It really is. The next possible steps in these three things, for loneliness, despair, and everything, I think that what Canada needs to work on most is, we say we're a free country, right? Should make people that are at home, and this is their home, make them feel not lonely, make them not fear this country still, because I'm not sure about this, but there's probably still people on Indigenous reserves that still feel lonely, feel like they don't have an identity still. So that's probably the biggest thing they could possibly do right now. Now the next thing I was going to talk about is hockey. Hockey was a big part in this movie. Saul, our main character, used hockey as a coping method when he went to the school and joins a hockey team. Myself, this affected me because maybe not hockey, but I've had other ways to compare myself if something's not going well. Friends or comic books or wrestling or video games, and it's very fine. It's great to have a coping method that works, and those ones work for me, and it's always something different for someone else. I think hockey was a great thing for him. He took his mind off of the school and he got to do something he enjoyed. What you could do in the future for this, I don't know. Put more sports in the reserves, but I'd just like to say I'm not very familiar with what they have in the reserves, so don't, take me on that. Then steps in the future, what Canada could do. Just continue what you're doing for sports. I'm not a sports guy, so I don't know why I chose to call him, but they could probably keep doing sports and adding more things in, make more extracurricular things there. And the last thing I'd like to talk about is racism. Racism is a big part, even today's society, towards Indigenous people and a lot of things. And racism, it doesn't affect me personally, but I have friends that are like black or different cultures, and they get made fun of all the time because of just their color still. Aren't we supposed to be a free country and not doing this? We're supposed to be the nice people here. It's not cool when we say we're a free country but we're still racist as hell sometimes. That really affects me, especially in this movie, because they show some pretty nasty stuff towards Indigenous people, because the whole point of residential schools keeps doing this was to get the Indian out of the Indigenous and get their stuff out of there because they wanted to make them like the whites. I'm very sorry for this. This is not working well. I really think that what I could do in the future is just, not be racist, not make racist jokes, no racist comments, support people, make more friends. It's for everyone. Just make more friends with different cultures, because it's great to be a mosaic here and have your own things, right? But if you don't know and you feel uncomfortable around people, you might tend to say something racist around them. That's for everyone, not just me. It happens to me a lot. What Canada could do, they do a great job on racism, but Indigenous people, they've left them in these reserves. This keeps doing this. I don't know why. They've left them in these reserves with their stuff, and that's great. But is much going on right now to help them? Yeah, probably not as much, because you got, my personal opinion, Trudeau in there, and Trudeau isn't the greatest guy in my eyes, but I don't know about you Liberals. I'm a conservative. I don't want to get into that. But myself, I think that racism is still a big part about today, and it's still being dealt with. So I feel like keep doing what you're doing, Canada. You're never going to get racism out of here, because once another war starts or something like that, whatever the conflicting country is, they're going to be racist towards their culture, because be like, oh, they've got to be spies or something. So it's never going to leave this country, but we can try our best. So that was all for today, folks. Hope you all enjoyed this. I'm sorry, Miss McDonald, for the end of this. I'm putting this up on my YouTube channel. If you all enjoyed this, please leave it like, smash that like button, subscribe, comment down below. I've been Logan. I'll see you later, and peace.